At a Sunday brunch, my in-laws played a fun family trivia game. Every question was about my husband's childhood. Nothing about me. At the end, his mom said, "Don't worry, you'll learn more as you grow with us." I said, "Or I'll just start my own game night with people who know my middle name." It was a sunny Sunday morning in Charleston, South Carolina. I had been married to Mark for 3 years, and his family had invited us over for their traditional Sunday brunch. The table was set with all the Southern classics, shrimp and grits, biscuits with gravy, and sweet tea. Mark's mother, Patricia, had organized a fun family trivia game to spice things up. As the game commenced, I noticed that every single question revolved around Mark's childhood. What was Mark's first word? Which high school did Mark attend? What was Mark's favorite childhood toy? I sat there, smiling politely, but the exclusion was palpable. At the end of the game, Patricia turned to me and said, "Don't worry. You'll learn more as you grow with us." I took a deep breath and replied, "Or I'll just start my own game night with people who know my middle name." The room fell silent. Mark looked at me, eyes wide, while his family exchanged uncomfortable glances. I excused myself and stepped outside to get some air. Mark joined me a few minutes later. "That was uncalled for," he said. "Was it?" I replied. "Do you even know my middle name?" He hesitated. "It's Marie. It's Elaine, Mark. Elaine." He looked down, embarrassed. "I'm sorry," he muttered. "It's not just about the name," I said. "It's about feeling like an outsider in my own marriage." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the brunch in my head. I decided it was time to take matters into my own hands. I sent out invitations to my closest friends for a game night at our place. The theme? Get to know Elaine. I prepared trivia questions about my life, my interests, my childhood. I wanted to create an environment where I felt seen and valued. The night arrived, and our living room was filled with laughter and chatter. My friends were excited, and the atmosphere was warm and welcoming. We played the trivia game, and I was touched by how much my friends knew about me. They remembered details I had long forgotten. Mark sat quietly observing. After the game, he pulled me aside. "I had no idea," he said. "That's the point," I replied. The following weekend, we were invited to another family gathering. I was hesitant, but decided to go. During dinner, Patricia brought up the previous brunch. "I hope you didn't take our trivia game the wrong way," she said. "I did," I replied honestly. "It made me feel invisible." She looked taken aback. "That wasn't our intention," she said. "Intent doesn't erase impact," I said. Over the next few months, things began to shift. Mark made an effort to learn more about me, asking questions and showing genuine interest. His family started including me in conversations, asking about my background and experiences. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. One evening, Mark and I were sitting on the porch, watching the sunset. "I never realized how much I took you for granted," he said. "It's easy to overlook what's familiar," I replied. "I want to do better," he said. "Then start by remembering my middle name," I teased. He smiled. "Elaine." We decided to make our game night a monthly tradition, alternating themes and hosts. It became a way for both families to come together and learn about each other. The walls that once separated us began to crumble, replaced by mutual respect and understanding. Looking back, that brunch was a turning point. It forced me to stand up for myself and demand the respect I deserved. It wasn't about revenge, it was about reclaiming my identity. As we continue to grow together, I know there will be challenges. But I also know that open communication and mutual respect will guide us through. And every time we play a game, I'll smile, knowing that I am no longer invisible. About 2 months after we started our new game night tradition, something strange began happening. Patricia, Mark's mom, who had been unusually kind and even brought a pie to the last game night, started acting odd. Quiet. Too quiet. She stopped bringing her usual energy. At one game night, she just sat on the couch, sipping her wine, barely answering questions. When I asked if everything was okay, She smiled and said, "Oh, I'm just soaking it all in." But something felt off. I didn't press her then. I wish I had. A few days later, I got a call from my friend Jenna. "Hey, just giving you a heads up," she said. "I ran into Patricia at the farmer's market. She asked a lot of personal stuff about you, where you grew up, your college, your old job. Like, weirdly specific stuff. That sent a chill down my spine." "Why would she be asking about that?" I said. "I don't know." She said something like, "Just making sure she's the right fit for Mark." I felt my stomach twist. It wasn't paranoia. I knew Patricia had never really liked me, but I thought we were getting somewhere. Clearly not. Something had changed, so I started digging. Quietly, carefully. I checked Mark's laptop one night while he was asleep. I felt guilty, sure, but something was wrong, and I needed to know. There it was. An email chain between Mark and his mom. Subject line, concerned about Elaine. One message stood out. "Mom, please stop digging into her past. You already made things awkward with Jenna. If she finds out, she'll lose it." So he knew. The next morning, I confronted him. Not yelling, just calm. "I know you and your mom have been emailing about me," I said. His face dropped. "You went through my emails? You lied to me. You let her dig into my past. What did she think she was going to find?" "She thought you were hiding something. I told her you weren't, I swear." "So why didn't you tell her to stop? Why didn't you stop?" He rubbed his face and sat down on the edge of the bed. "Because I didn't want another fight. She's my mom, Elaine. And I'm your wife." Silence. I didn't speak to Patricia after that. I didn't go to brunch. I didn't text her back. I didn't even open the pie she sent over as a peace offering. Mark and I were stuck in a weird limbo. Living in the same house, sleeping in the same bed, but everything felt hollow. He tried to act normal, but I could tell he was scared. Scared that I was slipping away. I was. And then came the real kicker. I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Just a plain envelope with a few printed pages inside. It was a background report on me. Everything. My high school grades. My parents' divorce records. My community college debt from years ago. I sat on the kitchen floor, shaking, holding that report in my hands. This wasn't just nosy. This was war. I didn't say anything to Mark. I needed time to think. I needed space to breathe. So I made a plan. I packed a bag and went to stay with my cousin in Asheville for a week. No warning. Just left a note. "I need time to think. Don't contact me." He called, texted. I didn't answer. I needed to decide if I was done. But I also needed to get smart. Because if they were going to dig into my past, I was going to start digging into theirs. With help from Jenna, who was all in once I told her what happened, we started looking into the family. We weren't trying to be petty. We were trying to protect me. And what we found blew my mind. Patricia wasn't some southern matriarch with perfect manners. She had a past too. Turns out, she had been married before Mark's dad. Briefly. And the divorce record? Messy. Accusations of fraud. Even a restraining order filed against her for harassment by her ex's new wife. It wasn't just gossip. It was court documented. When I came back home, I didn't say a word about what I found. I was calm, collected. I told Mark I wanted to host one more game night. Just one, with the whole family. One big, final, honest night. He agreed. Everyone showed up. Even Patricia, looking smug, like she had already won. But the game I planned wasn't trivia. It was truth or lie. And the first question? Has anyone at this table ever hired someone to run a background check on another family member? Her face went pale. The moment I asked the question, has anyone at this table ever hired someone to run a background check on another family member? Everyone froze. Patricia looked like she'd swallowed glass. Mark looked at me like he suddenly realized he was married to a complete stranger. His sister, Dana, let out a nervous laugh, What kind of game is this? I smiled and said, a real one. Patricia cleared her throat. I think this is inappropriate. I didn't blink. So, is stalking your daughter-in-law? Mark finally found his voice. Mom, is this true? She didn't deny it. She just said, I was looking out for you. That's when Dana stood up. Looking out for him? She turned to me, eyes wide. Elaine, she ran a background check on me too. When I started dating Tyler. She said it was just to protect the family. I thought it was weird, but what? Mark was speechless. You did this to Dana too? That did it. All the air was gone from the room. Patricia tried to talk her way out of it, claiming it was out of love, that she had seen families fall apart due to secrets, blah blah blah. I let her talk. Then I dropped the bombshell. I know about your first marriage. And the restraining order. Dead silence. Dana's mouth dropped open. Mark looked like his world had cracked. I continued, calm but sharp. I found the court records. You harassed your ex's new wife so badly she filed for protection. And now you're trying to protect this family from me. Patricia stood up. You don't understand, no, I interrupted. You don't. You crossed a line, Patricia. A big one. And I won't play pretend anymore. Chapter 19. The real fallout. Mark didn't sleep in our room that night. I told him he didn't have to leave, but he did anyway. We were polite to each other, but there was something between us that had never been there before, doubt. He was forced to reckon with who his mother really was. But what made things worse was what happened the following week. I got a call from my job. HR. Someone had submitted an anonymous complaint about me, claiming I had lied on my resume. Said I falsified my college records, except I didn't. I had the degrees, the work history, everything. And you want to guess who had just learned about my community college transcripts? Yeah. I couldn't prove it was Patricia. But come on. Who else? That was my final straw. I didn't scream. I didn't throw a fit. I just got a lawyer. I had already documented everything. The emails, the letter, the background report, the game night confrontation. Dana even agreed to write a statement. I wasn't suing her yet, but I wanted her to know I could. So my lawyer sent a cease and desist for harassment. And that broke something in her. She called Mark, crying, claiming I was trying to destroy her. She left me voicemails, sobbing, saying I was tearing the family apart. She tried to message Jenna too, claiming I was unstable. Mark came to me with his hands shaking. I don't know what to do anymore. I looked at him and said, I do. I told Mark we needed space. Real space. Not a weekend away. I meant separate apartments. It wasn't a threat. It was survival. He was torn. Said he still loved me, but I could see it in his eyes. He was scared. Not of me. Of making a choice. He knew his mother was toxic, but that was his mother. He finally asked, what do you want? And I said, I want peace. I want respect. I want to stop living like I'm walking on eggshells around a woman who sees me as the enemy. A few days after Mark moved into a short-term rental, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Again. I almost threw it away. But I opened it. It wasn't from Patricia. It was from Dana. A handwritten note. She said she was sorry for not standing up sooner. That she'd known for years her mom was controlling but hadn't realized how far it had gone. That her own relationship with Tyler was suffering because of the same control. That I'd been right to draw the line. And at the end of the letter, she wrote, if you ever need backup, I've got you. Mark and I talk. Sometimes. He's in therapy now. He said the last few months made him question everything he thought about his family, about me, about himself. He asked if I'd go to couples therapy. I told him I'd think about it. Because the story? It's still being written. No endings yet. Just truths. And boundaries. Mark and I tried. We really did. We went to 3 therapy sessions together. The first one was tense. I sat with my arms crossed, trying not to glare at him. He kept avoiding my eyes. In the second session, the therapist asked, "What do you each want from this?" I said, "I want to stop feeling like I'm the villain just for existing." Mark said, "I want my wife back, but I don't know if I deserve her." By the third session, it was clear he wasn't willing to cut the cord with his mom. He still defended her, still called what she did concern, not control. That's when I knew we weren't going to make it. I filed for divorce 2 weeks later. Mark didn't fight it. He just cried when I handed him the papers. "I still love you," he whispered. "I know," I said, "but you don't love me enough to protect me." I moved out of Charleston that same month, packed my life into a rental truck and drove north, back to Durham, North Carolina, where I had gone to college. It felt like going home. What I didn't expect was what came next. You see, Patricia was part of a few local committees, church groups, a local business women's board. Very well connected, very image conscious. Well, Dana had receipts, emails, voice messages, screenshots of her mom saying awful things about me, Jenna, even Mark's old exes. She sent them anonymously to those groups. She didn't tell me until after the fact. "I didn't do it for revenge," she said. "I did it because she needs to be stopped." The fallout? Brutal. Patricia was removed from 2 boards. Her church asked her to take a break. Her social circle shrank overnight. She tried to spin it like a smear campaign, but no one believed her. Here's the part where I'll admit I messed up too. I should have walked away earlier. I kept hoping Mark would change, that he'd choose me fully, that he'd finally see what his mother was doing. But I stayed too long. I gave too many chances. I made myself small to fit into their world, and by the time I fought back, I was already exhausted. I lost time. I lost trust. And that's on me. But I also gained something. Myself. A year later, I hosted a game night. Just friends. Good people. No drama. One of the questions someone wrote was, "What was the most defining moment of your life?" When it came to me, I didn't hesitate. I said, the day I stopped asking people to accept me and walked away instead. Everyone went quiet. Then Jenna raised her glass and said, "To Elaine." And everyone else joined in. To Elaine. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, Mark reached out. He wanted to meet for coffee. Just to talk. Against my better judgment, I said yes. We met in a quiet cafe. He looked older. Tired. Like the years had hit him all at once. "I'm in therapy every week now," he said. "I moved out of my mom's house. I even went no contact." I sipped my drink. "That's good. I just wanted to say, you were right about all of it. And I'm sorry." I looked him in the eye. "I believe you. But some apologies come too late." He nodded. And that was the last time I ever saw him.